All right, so again, thank you all for being here for our ninth Coffee with the Copper. And today's topic is going to be just moving forward. So how do you build your RHA? How do you progress throughout the year and continue improving your RHA? And then looking forward, how do you strategically plan for your organization? And so Tesla from Tyler Junior College is going to be facilitating our discussion tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Tesla.
Hey guys, how is everyone's spring break? I hope it was good. Okay, so we can jump on in. Our first question was, what are some ways that you have increased your membership? And it can be anything. We kind of talked about this before, I believe, but go ahead, put an X in the chat. Has no one increased? Okay, go ahead, Stephen.
So I know one way our RHA has increased membership is simply by having things to do at meetings. We basically make it to where the meetings are not pointless for people to go to, because I know if we didn't have anything to do at meetings, which when I first got into our RHA, that's kind of how it was, we would see a major drop off at the end of the semester because, well, there's nothing to do, so people wouldn't come. So basically having more events and having things to do in the meetings, either if it's planning for an event or something of that nature, just having something to do, it kind of draws people and then keeps people there.
All right, Nicholas.
One, to echo what Steven said, making sure there's stuff to do at meetings. And the other thing that we kind of did was just making sure that there's, stuff for people to actively care about and get involved. So we started the President's Council, we started a Food and Facilities Committee with the VPs. So it's more things for people to get on and get involved. Because one thing that can kind of drop off members, like Steven said, is not having things for people to do and for people to really care about. So that helps. That's kind of how we've helped grow more this year.
Okay. That was good. Does anyone else want to share? No? That's fine because it's the first question, but I got all of you. Okay. All right, so the second question, what are some ways that you have increased attendance at events and meetings? Oh, wait. Alicia, is this for the first one or this one?
It was for the first one.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I had to leave for 5 minutes, but I was back now. But yeah, I was going to say that something that we started this year was that there's basically our school does a camp for freshmen. So they have an involvement fair on one of the days during the camp. So this year we started going to the camp on the last day to kind of go to their little involvement fair, and then people would come to us, and then we would have a sign-up sheet. And that's kind of how we basically recruited. And then second semester we didn't do that. But what we did do is we encouraged our hall council members to do kind of something similar to that in their halls for second semester to get people, if there's a special turnover in hall councils. So that's how we kind of recruited in that way.
That's cool because my school does nothing like that. So that's super cool. Okay, so second question, what are some ways that you have increased attendance at events and meetings? And I think we talked about this maybe once or twice before too when we talk about programs, but this could mean anything, changing dates, times, anything. For my school, we look at on the calendar to see if any of the other organizations on campus are having anything on certain days. We kind of plan around them and vice versa. So we can get more people at our organizations. And also we will tell, we'll plan with, if another organization is having something, we'll the same day, we'll say, hey, well, yours finishes like 20 minutes before ours, or like at the same time ours starts, just go ahead and ask your people, you know, if you want to go over there, that'd be really cool. And it worked last week when we had our mocktail party. We had like a bunch of people come over from our Seaside Sex Talk. That was really cool. So if anyone would like to share, put an X in the chat. Go ahead, Lorenza.
So one of the things that we've done to increase attendance at our programs is we kind of do like you do, and we plan with other organizations as far as time schedule goes. But then for the people who go to both of the programs, we give them extra incentives. So you can get like a free T-shirt if you go to both, or you get extra raffle tickets to win more prizes. And we encourage all of our members to post everything on their social media pages and share it all the time.
Okay, I like it. Okay, Nicholas.
We've done a couple things. One of the things we did in particular this semester was we actually took the feedback from last semester and found that our meeting time, a lot of people actually didn't like because it was during lunch and it was making them feel like really rushed. It was making our meetings feel rushed. So we actually moved our meeting time, and that actually helps some. And then another thing as far as like events, and one thing I've kind of noticed is like if you make your committee meetings fun, people tend to like, I don't know, be more inclined to like go to them. So I feel like that's kind of a factor too. And we also just occasionally, before like we start a meeting, I always just like thank everyone for like taking the time to make it to the meeting and things like that matters, and thank you for taking the time to be here, and so on and so forth, because we do like attendance is mandatory, but we do like sometimes, you know, it's still good to thank people for doing it regardless because it takes time out of the day. So
We did the same thing. I didn't even think about that. We changed our meetings from our student center, not because our attendance was low, but because everyone was always late. And it's not because they were busy, just because that was a far walk and no one wanted to make that walk. And so we changed it to the housing building. And to make it more fun, I guess you would say, we added a lot of food. So like every time there's either cookies, or we make nachos or popcorn, cotton candy, and all kinds of things. So I like it. Okay. Next is Steven.
Something we've done as far as events is concerned is just increasing advertising, giving more people more time in advance to know about events. That way they can actually plan to go to them, because like if you start spreading the word about events like 2 days before the event, nobody's going to show up. So getting the word out a couple of weeks before as opposed to like 4 days before, that has helped a lot. And as far as meetings go, we do some icebreakers that are a little bit more fun at the beginning of the meeting. So we usually have some sort of funny question of the day. Last time we had a riddle. I think this time it was, what was your favorite new song or something like that. So just something to get people engaged.
I like that. And Alicia.
So for a lot of our events, we get a lot of hall council members to come, but sometimes struggle with actual residents around campus. So this year, or like just like past years, we've only put up flyers in the residence halls, but this year we decided to put up flyers into other popular places around campus, which is our library and our student center. So that really helps with increasing like attendance for people who aren't just residents, but although it's like primarily for residents. And then another thing that we do with our hall council members a few times this year, where we ask them to make a passive in their hall. So not like a flyer, but like a grand passive that could be like 3D, kind of like advertising our event, and then hosting like a walkover from like their hall to the event. That way a lot of residents can come to.
That's unique. I've never heard of the 3D thing. It's cool. Okay. Anyone else want to share before we move on? Yes. Maybe some. No. Okay. Our next question is, what are some ways that you have publicized RHA on your campus? I'm gonna start calling names. Any way you do it, social media, anything. Nicholas.
So we have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram, and we have a Twitter. One thing that kind of happened after this previous year is the old president didn't give us any of them. So I spent part of this year recovering all of our social media accounts. So that was fun. So remember to transition your social media accounts. And we also do one thing we want to do that we haven't done yet, that we've thought about doing is, hey, like, this is RHA, like, this is what we do, and like maybe like pictures of the execs or something like that, or maybe expanding like our portion of the website, of the WTE school website, maybe if possible, to like add more on there about RHA and maybe things like that. So those are kind of a few ways we're trying to do, and we're hopefully trying to come up with new like creative ways for next year too. So.
And Lorenzo?
Sorry about that. Kind of like Nick said, we've really been working hard on our social media pages. And one thing that I do for every big event that we have, I design a special Facebook page for us, just so we can get people to like it and to like kind of look at it a little bit more. And then as far as to get our name out there, we've made promotional videos that get played inside the student center and at the CAF. And that took some work with, the cafeteria staff and just the campus in general.
I like how you do the cafeteria. That's cool to me. Okay, and Terrence.
Oh my goodness. Hi. I'm so sorry. I'm doing a lot of work right now at the same time trying to be in this. So I'm walking all over the place. So one thing that I did this year was, so most people for homework and classes either use like Blackboard or Canvas. So one thing that we did is we have a Blackboard page. So anytime that I need to like send out a notification of an event going on, or if say we're holding a forum or something like that, we send out the notification through Blackboard so that it goes straight to their emails. Because if there's one thing that a college student is going to check, it is their emails. So, that's one thing that we've used, as well as we kind of had the same issue that Nick had. Accounts didn't get transferred, so I don't want to say we forbid, but we didn't allow any of our councils to create social media pages because they were getting lost. So now we send like all of the council's information through the same accounts. So that's kind of keeping people from looking all over the place to see what's going on within the RHA organization. So I guess we've kind of unified our social media so that everyone knows to look in the same spot for the information that they need that's pertinent to the events we're holding. So, yeah.
You're on mute, Tesla.
I'm so sorry. Okay.
See, it's difficult.
Okay, so two different people had the accounts. One graduated, and our Twitter and our Facebook. There's only two we had. One graduated, and we never got it, and then one got accepted to the nursing program, and we never seen her either. And so we had to go through a long process of trying to get our Twitter account, and then found out the one who graduated deleted the Facebook account. And so we had to ask marketing if like we can make a new one, and that took a really long time to do also. But we got it. got it eventually. Okay. And Justin said that they have a mass emailing system. He gets the list of residents from his advisor, and he sends emails when we have events. I include pictures of the execs and fun flyers and graphics to draw attention to our events. And when I get to it, I'll send a link to view those. It's cool. Okay, that's unique as well. I like uniqueness. Okay. And go ahead, Connor.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, so Justin mentioned MailChimp. That's what I use for the email updates that I send y'all that have like links to them and pictures and graphics and everything, and it looks really, really nice. So if you are interested in learning about how to use MailChimp or how to go about doing that, I can definitely walk you through how to utilize MailChimp and all the different features it has. If a lot of y'all are interested in it, I can always make like a tutorial video on how to utilize MailChimp. So if that's something y'all are interested in, just let me know.
I'm interested. Okay. And okay, so for our next question, we said, what are some ways that your RHA has either improved from last year or improved from the beginning of the year? Put an X in the chat. Steven.
So a couple of things we've done as far as improvement goes, we definitely have a lot more participation this year than we did last year. That's one of the big ups for us. We're doing a few more events, which is helping a lot, and some of our events are a bit bigger than what we've done in past years. So this year we're doing something we haven't done before, so hopefully nothing goes horribly wrong. But we're getting one of the local barbecue places here to cater food for an event we're having, and we're having a capuchin monkey at the Fountain Mall here on campus that people can take pictures with and pose with and such. So having events like that kind of to draw people in and keep people interested and excited, and just doing bigger events like that, that's definitely the way we've improved over the last year.
That's really cool. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay, Nicholas.
One thing we did this year is we're trying to do more events that are like for the community and like benefit and like philanthropy events. And so we're participating this year in Relay for Life, and we're going to try and do like we'll match like so many up to this amount of donations. So we're trying to participate in that. We're also participating in a thing called Shackathon, where we're going to all build a shack and sleep in it in April. And for all the shacks that get built, goats are actually donated to somewhere, and I forget where, but it helps out the people that live there, and it's something you can compete in. So we're participating in more things that we kind of skipped in the past that are like philanthropy and things like that. So I think that's kind of helped us some with retention too, because the people that really care about that, they see that we're like doing that and think that's cool.
I have a question. What are you making the shacks out of?
It's made out of like pallets, and just they basically bring all the materials on the campus. They just bring like a massive amount of pallets and like boards and other stuff, and then you just make the shacks in one day and you tear them down the next morning. Pretty much, it's an interesting event.
Okay, that's interesting. Definitely never heard that before, but that's really good. The philanthropy and things. Okay, and Lorenzo, you got it.
This year, we really wanted to focus on retention because it always seemed like in the spring semester, we'll be down to maybe like 9 members who are active. So one of the things that we did was we made a system called a Mighty Cub system, where if you're a member by volunteering for different things, you gain points. And then once you get to a certain level of points, you can do things like move in early, come back a little bit early for a special training. You get a special custom RHA T-shirt and other swag. And this has also like increased the amount of members that we've had join and just like their involvement in the organization as a whole.
That's cool. Okay. Does anyone else want to share? Nisha, Terrence, Justin? No? Yes? 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 Somebody? No? Okay. Y'all shared enough, I guess. It's only us. Okay. So the next question is, what are some ways that you measure progress in your organization? I want to hear from Alicia and Terrence and Justin. Okay, go ahead. Alicia, what a surprise. Go ahead, girl.
I don't know like how exactly like we measure it, but like one thing that we do is like we do wrap-up reports for everything. And in our executive board meetings, we do deltas and pluses and future like recommendations with each other. But this year, for the first time ever, we actually do that with our like general assembly with our members as well to get their input, because they're the ones like who are attending our events. And that helps a lot. And we have, I'm actually making like a programming binder. So we have like all of our deltas and pluses in there. And then our wrap-up reports are on our shared drive. So that's one thing that we do to make sure that we're like progressing and doing better. But like as far as like measuring progress, I don't really know.
Okay, I guess I could say for mine, I don't know if any other school does it, but we have scanners to like scan people in to make sure like how many people are actually coming to our events and things. So I guess like progress for my events anyways, we just like see how our numbers progress, and like we keep that all in Excel, not Excel, but you know, those on sheets in Google Drive, and it's shared between me and my advisor, and we do that for some of our meetings and stuff as well, but we don't really measure a lot of things either. We're so small, we don't do a lot of stuff. But anyone else? Okay, Terrence.
So I feel like this should be a larger part of what we do, just because our advisor is the assistant director for residential education, and she's always talking about assessments, and we just never really get around to it because that's another thing on the list of things that we have to do in a day, and we just don't ever find the time. But one thing that we do as an executive board is at the end of every event, so I don't know, I think I started this after our bingo night last semester. We sit down and we have like an event debrief and talk about what went right, what went wrong. And that became really important because our bingo night is something that we do at the beginning of each semester at the request of our director of housing. So it's like not really a choice, it's a must. And so you know, we really wanted to know what residents were gaining from it. Like one of the things that we decided after doing the first one is that we wanted residents to be able to identify two administration bodies on campus, like upper administration. So like vice president of student affairs, of chancellor and president. It's ridiculous how many people don't know who they are. Anyways, but you know, so that's just kind of some of the things that we talked about. Wait a minute, I wrote down the things that we do. And let me, okay. And so one thing that we have to do at the end of the year as an organization is we have to turn in like a whole long list of like the events we did, how many people came to them, how much money we spent on it, and like a whole little, you know, debrief for people to read, I guess, somewhere, somehow in somebody's office. And so when we're doing that, that really makes us sit down and like kind of discuss how we want to do our budget for the coming year. Like, you know, say that we want to do more travel, should we set more aside, therefore letting go of an event that we might possibly want to do and things like that. So, I mean, we really get kind of more logistical with it, you know, kind of looking at the background of aspects, not so much really what we did for residents, really. I think that's one of the aspects that we miss a lot of the times. How did we impact residents with the program? So yeah, there's that.
Okay, that's a good point Terrence made. I didn't think about is at like the end of our semesters, we turn in like everything, our budget and how much we spent on everything. And so just looking at that, and I guess that's a way we track our progress as well. Okay. And Justin said we do reports, attendance and budget, and then happies and crappies after every event because everyone has different perspective. Then we make notes where we can improve next time. These end up in our shared drive also, similar to Alicia. Happies and crappies. I like the way you word that. Oh, that's cool. Unique. Does anyone else want to share before we go on to, you're welcome, before we go on to the next question? No? No? Alrighty. Okay, next question is, if you have a strategic plan, how do you go about creating it? Why do you create it in the first place? And does your strategic plan coincide with your housing plan? This could be anything like looking into the future. Like one example Connor used when we were talking about this is like you have a goal that you want to reach in the next, say, 3 years, and you just write down not write down, but you have everything individually like on there that you want to meet all these goals to get to your big goal. And you can look back and say, okay, we've accomplished this, now what's next? And a little thing. So okay, so go ahead, Terrence.
Cool. So I don't know if you've been in meetings with me where I've said, "Oh, I'm totally working on the strategic plan. I'm almost done." I totally am, but I just need to really sit down and finish writing, I guess. So one thing that's happening on the Texas Women's University campus as a whole is each division is now building their strategic plan. So really the campus itself is in a process of writing strategic plans. Like I want to say the university finished their like mainstream strategic plan 6 to 8 months ago, and then every division was supposed to do it. And because I'll be leaving RHA eventually one of these days sometime, I wanted to know what they would be doing and kind of gear them towards it, just because when I started in RHA, I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what I was doing. We didn't know where we were going at the beginning of the year. We just had to sit down and really talk. So one thing that I've done with the strategic plan is I posed to every current officer to really think about what they came in knowing and kind of what their goals were when they got here. And did they accomplish the goal? If not, why? And how can we ensure that the next board will do so? And then, so I actually talked to my advisor about this. What's today? Tuesday? Yesterday. So I talked to my advisor yesterday about it. So once I finish with the RHA strategic plan, we'll sit down and kind of morph it to fit the housing strategic plan. There are portions of it that are built like one of our goals is to assist in the retention rate for each semester and really look at how RHA is helping housing with that. So there are some goals in there currently that kind of fit with the housing strategic plan, but we're going to make sure that we're really fitting it to housing. That way it also coincides with the universities.
That's really cool. I like the fact that you asked some of your officers, or that you asked your officers if what they knew and what their goals were when they came in. That's a good thing. I think we'll start doing that. Probably do that in April. Does anyone else want to share? We only have one question left before the round table. Anyone else? Yes, no, yes, no. Please, one more person at least. I will call on someone. What? Nicholas, you're awesome. Go ahead.
We don't currently have one. Our housing has a strategic plan. We don't have one right now. One of the things that we're really adding to transition this time to make it better, because last time the transition was not nearly as smooth as it could have been, hence the losing of social media accounts and other random things. But we're doing transition reports this time. For instance, we're doing more wrap-up stuff. And one of the things that I might try and do, if we can manage it, is try and maybe collaborate with our council of presidents and start like working on, if not even a strategic plan, but at least like a some things we want to accomplish, or something like that to add to transition as well. So we don't have one, but we might kind of try and have one. But yeah, we're gonna see.
I guess I could have said that TJC RHA doesn't have a strategic plan either. So if anyone else that doesn't have a strategic plan you would like to share, you can too. Last call. Next question.
This would be a great time if you don't have a strategic plan, but that might be something that you're interested in. Like, ask questions, see how people who do have strategic plans started theirs. Like, what are the first steps? What does strategic planning look like? Like, all of those things would be great to ask right now. But also, we have one more question. So during the next question, if you think of things, like, we do have open forums, so please think of those.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Connor. Said it better than I could. Okay. So next question says, how do you measure progress on your strategic plan, and is it working? So those of you who have a strategic plan, share. If you don't, ask questions. See? Alicia.
I have more like a comment on like how people can go about measuring something like that. This is something that our RHA does, and I know Sakura does it during their retreats as well. Basically, like when you have like your retreat in the fall, take minutes about like what your goals are and what your plans are for each person, and then for each for like the organization as a whole, and then bring those minutes back up in the spring semester and take a look at it, like do self-reflection and then reflect on it as a group as well, and then just talk to each other about like what did we not get done, how come we didn't get it done, like what were our barriers, and what can we do for the rest of the semester to kind of get it done. So an action plan.
I like that a lot. Does anyone else have anything to share, to add, to question, something they're not sure about? Yes, no. Steven, do you guys have a strategic plan at Baylor?
We actually don't. That's something we're going to hopefully try and implement at the beginning of next school year. Yeah, to be quite honest with you, when the officers took their positions, none of us knew what we were doing because none of us were actually transitioned properly. So the first thing we're going to do is make sure that officers can transition properly. So just as an example, knowing how to use OrgSync, because none of us knew how to use OrgSync. And when you don't know how to use OrgSync is a pain in the butt. So just things of that nature. But yeah, we are going to, and we also had a change in our advisement as well. We got a new advisor in the middle of the year. So we've been going through a lot of transitions, and hopefully we'll be able to implement a strategic plan at the end of the year.
And Lorenzo asked, does a 2-year plan count as one? And I say yes. I think Connor shook his head to say yes. So yes, Lorenzo, a 2-year plan works. Go ahead.
Okay, so since the 2-year plan counts, the reason we have a 2-year plan system is because every 2 years we get a new advisor, and we work on a 2-year plan with our advisor. And what we do is, as soon as our advisor is about to graduate, we look back and kind of see, like, look at all the notes that we took for past programs and see, like, where we didn't meet our goal, where we met our goals. We look at, how our retention numbers were, if we actually did the programs that we had planned to do, and different things like that.
I guess, 2-year plans do actually work because I go to a 2-year school. None of you guys do. So all of our plans are only for really 2 years or a couple months, really. So, anyone else who have a new member that has been added to the chat? Hello, welcome. Okay. Does anyone else would like to share? You can. If not, we're about to move on to open forum. Yes, no? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, open forum.
All right. Thank you so much, Tesla, for facilitating this discussion. It was a great discussion, you all. Thank you for contributing to everything. I just want to say some comments. Let's see. So I really love how at the beginning it does seem that, we have had some of those conversations on how do you increase your membership and get people to come to your meetings. We've talked about recruiting and retaining members and stuff. And I'm glad to see that so many of you in revisiting this topic had so much success with that. Like you're starting to figure out whenever we do these things, that works. We get people to come to our meetings and they want to stay at our meetings. So I think that that's absolutely wonderful. And I hope that you transition that to next year so that they can start off the year already knowing that those things work and already put them into place. I'm glad to hear about all of your improvements. That was really cool too. In measuring progress in your organization, a lot of you said that you didn't really know that, ways that you did measure progress and all that sort of stuff. And I do want to say that a lot of what y'all said, that is measuring progress. Doing wrap-up reports at the end of events, that's ways to look at progress. That's more documenting progress, or it's documenting events. How you then measure the progress is you look back. You see last year, whenever they did a wrap-up report on that event, and then this year, whenever you did the wrap-up report, and you're looking at the numbers, did you increase the amount of people that came? Did you decrease your budget? If you increased your budget, did you also increase the amount of people that came? All of those types of things. That's how you measure your progress in an organization. So I think that y'all are all kind of starting to do those things already. You just need that little extra nudge of documenting and then being able to look back to see what was it last year and am I doing better this year at it. So that's absolutely wonderful. And as you all said, y'all are all really trying to work on transitioning and doing really good transition reports and everything. And all of that helps measure progress in your organization. So I think that y'all are all on the right track and you're doing the right stuff for that. As far as strategic plans go, I cannot stress how important strategic planning is. If you're just going year by year and you're either recreating the same stuff that you always do, or you don't have some sort of guiding goal of what you're trying to achieve, you're not really challenging yourselves as student leaders. You're more just kind of operators at that point. You're just operating the organization. You're not actually leading it in any definable direction. So strategic plans are incredibly important. And what I'll also say is in working with SWCR and our strategic plan, they're very easy because just like you all do, where you write your transition report and then you come up with things where you're like, oh, next year they should do this, 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 this. That's strategic planning. Just instead of doing it year by year, stretch it out to say, here's all the things that we want to do and where we see the organization heading. And then, so over the next 3 years or over the next 5 years, what are things that each year's exec board could do in order to reach that? And that makes running the organization, honestly, and doing transition reports a lot easier, because then whenever you get into your position, you already have these basically goals listed out for you in the strategic plan of, oh, we're in year 2 of the strategic plan. In year 2, it says that we need to accomplish A through J. So let's start working on them. Let's start accomplishing these tasks. You already know what you're supposed to be doing for that year. And then at the end, you can say, okay, here's what we have accomplished. Here's what we haven't accomplished. So when you transition it on to the next year, that's what you say. You say, okay, here's what you need to work on next year for the strategic plan. Here's how you can go about doing that. And you set next year up for success. So it makes writing transition reports easier. It makes actually coming into your position and figuring out, okay, what are we supposed to be doing? You already know because it's laid out for you. So putting in the work and the time and the effort into creating and developing a strong strategic plan makes running the organization and leading the organization that much easier in the long run. So I definitely suggest looking at doing a strategic plan. And to be honest, you could develop a strategic plan for the next 3 or 5 years at the end of this year. And next year can be year 1 of the strategic plan. You don't have to wait for next year's exec board to come up with the strategic plan. In fact, it's probably better if you do it this year because you already have a year of experience under your belt. You know what's possible in the organization and what isn't possible. You know how to set reasonable, measurable, specific goals. You know those SMART goals that I've talked about? You know how to set those SMART goals for your organization. So the fact that you have a year of experience would probably make it better for you to do the strategic planning than the people who come in new next year. If you already have your board for next year elected, include them in the process. Have it be a collaboration between this year's exec board and next year's exec board. Together, y'all come up with a strategic plan and you really set them up for success for next year. If you ever have any questions about strategic planning and what you want to do, if it's something you're wanting to do and you just have questions, you don't know where to get started, contact your advisor. But you can always contact me. I love strategic planning. It's something I am really good at. It's something that I enjoy. So always feel free to contact me about strategic planning. And yes, thank you, Nick. Our next Coffee with the COPR is, let's see. Next Coffee with the COPR is April 18th at 8 p.m. We have our President's Roundtable tonight at right after this chat, but the next roundtable, I think, like you said, Stephen, or Nick, is April 19th. Yes, it's Wednesday, April 19th at 8 p.m. So there's the roundtable tonight, and then that's the last NCUR President's Roundtable. So please, in 10 minutes, go to ncur.org/roundtables and log into the NCUR Roundtables discussion. Does anyone have anything for open forum before we end?
What time did you say the roundtable on April 19th was?
8 p.m. And I'll send out, there'll be emails and things with dates in them, and I can create an event in the group me as well. Like, you'll get that one. But yeah. All right. So again, ncur.org/roundtables. That's where you go. There should be a button that just says join chat here or something like that. You click on that and it brings you to the chat. So yeah, if y'all don't have anything for open forum, I will stay on for the next few minutes. But I hope to see you all at the President's Roundtable. All right, see you in a bit.